Hey guys, Grady's mom here, and today I wanted to do a sit-down video giving you guys some tips about buying a new home or building a new home, having a new home built. Most of you guys know, maybe not those who are newer to my channel, that we recently relocated. We moved from New York to South Carolina. We had a home in New York that we purchased in 2008. It was our starter home. We purchased it as a foreclosure, so we just got it for a really good deal under the market value. However, because it was a foreclosure, the home had a lot of issues. It was abandoned for a couple years. It was vacant for a couple years, so it just had issues, and it was in a pretty urban area. We lived in a city. So luckily for me, my husband is very handy. He's in the construction industry. So he was able to do a lot of the labor and the work in fixing up our home, our starter home. And my father helped as well. My father's an electrician. So between my husband, my father, and just some friends, we actually were able to fix all the issues that the home had, do some upgrading, do some, renovations, and really didn't have to pay much labor. So that's really our saving grace. When we put our house on the market in New York back in March of 2014, we were very blessed and lucky that it sold within a week for a full price offer, which surprised me a lot because of the area we were in. It's not good schools. The schools are bad. The taxes are very high. And it's just not really what you would call like a desirable area, in my opinion. However, fast forward, we used the money from the sale of that home, the profit that we made, to relocate our entire life down here to South Carolina. And we rented an apartment for about 6 months. Actually, I think it was 5 months when we moved down here to be able to research the area and figure out where exactly we wanted to live. At first, we were going to purchase a home here, an existing home, but all the homes we looked at just weren't quite right. And we knew that our second home, we wanted this to be a long-term home. We planned to be in this house for a long time. How many years, I don't know exactly, but I would say a minimum of 15 years I plan to be in this home, if not longer. Only time will tell. So we used that 5 months to figure out where exactly we wanted to be. We knew right away we wanted to be here in the town that we live in now because the schools are really good. So pretty much that's our little story of our home in New York. We sold it, made a profit because of the fact that the labor was, all done pretty much for free, and relocated to here. So that's sort of the first segment of this video. Now, as far as tips for purchasing or building a home, the first tip I can give you is to prepare. And what I mean by that is the number one thing is you need to figure out what you are comfortable spending a month on a mortgage. And most mortgages now include your mortgage payment, which is the interest and the principal on your home, your property taxes, which can really make or break your mortgage payment. In New York, we are paying about $600 a month in taxes, property and school taxes, a month, guys. That's crazy. Here, I think we pay about $100 a month. So, and that, like I said, the taxes can make or break your mortgage payment. If you're in a high tax area like we were, you can tack on $600 plus to your mortgage each month. So, which is a big reason we wanted to relocate. Anyway, staying on track, you're going to want to prepare, meaning figure out what you can afford, what you're comfortable paying. A good kind of jumping point would be if you're renting, and let's say your rent is $1,500 a month, and you're able to swing that comfortably, then you might want to sort of use that as a guideline to know what you're comfortable with in a mortgage payment. So that's definitely the first tip, or the first, piece of advice I can give you is prepare yourself and figure out what you're comfortable with. The second tip is get rid of as much credit card or revolving debt as you possibly can. I realize not everybody can just, if you have a couple car loans, like say if you or your husband or your significant other has a car loan, each of you, I realize not everybody can just pay off your car loan, or else we probably wouldn't have them in the first place. I'm not talking about huge debt like that, but if you have a few credit cards or a few store cards with maybe, you know, a couple hundred here, a couple thousand there, maybe a small medical bill that you need to pay, or, you know, a small amount left on a college loan, things like that that are doable, if you can pay those off, definitely do that. Because when you go through the loan process, the loan officer is going to look at your debt to income ratio. So if you're making 100 grand a year, but you have 20 grand in credit card debt, 20 grand in student loans, 2 car payments, medical debt, credit, you know, etc., all of those debts are going to go against your income, which, you know, in turn, you'll get pre-approved for less to spend on a home. Your rate could be higher. It could just be, in general, a lot more difficult for you to get a good rate and a good loan in general. So definitely the first step after you research and prepare yourself is pay off as much revolving debt as you possibly can. And if that's not possible, call your credit card companies and see about getting a rate reduction. Anything you can do to be able to pay those, you know, small debts off quicker is going to benefit you. The next tip I want to give is research the area where you want to live. For those who have kids, obviously schools are really important. We chose this area where we are specifically because a few reasons, but a big reason was because of the great school district here for our son. That is a deal breaker for me. If everything was perfect but the schools were terrible, that's a deal breaker for me. We had to be in an area with good schools, so that's a big reason why we chose here. I also wanted a more suburban feel because I grew up my childhood in a rural area, very country and rural. And then from my, you know, from 18 on, I always lived in cities. So I had never really lived in the suburbs, so I sort of wanted that suburban feel, which I have, you know, now where we live, although it's sort of suburban rural. So you're really going to want to research where you want to live, look at the schools, you're going to want to look at a lot of things, how much the taxes are in that area, how far of a commute you would have to work. All of these things are factors that we sometimes forget about because we're just looking tunnel vision at the home or the dream of having a home built or buying a specific home. And sometimes we lose sight of the little things that you don't think of, like, you know, are you going to have a 2-hour commute to work, or is the nearest grocery store a half an hour away? Those are all just things you have to really look at. So definitely research the area, spend time there, talk to people. If you know people in the area, pick their brain. One of my childhood friends, Ashley, who lives pretty close by me, that poor girl, I picked her brain. Sorry, Ash, to this day. I asked her a million questions. She was amazing at answering all the questions that I had as best she could, whether it was, you know, where is the nearest this, or how are the schools here, or, you know, what are the good pediatricians, all things like that. She answered all my questions and helped me so much, and I'm just so grateful to have a friend of mine that I've known for well over 20 years that lives so close to me. And I really love that. So I was really lucky to have somebody that I trust completely living so close to us. If that's not the case for you, I would go to your Chamber of Commerce. I would research online. I would Google things. I would just look at as much as you possibly can before you make the commitment to know exactly where you want to live. Because once you move in, or once you get your home built and you move in, that's it. You can't change the fact that, you know, maybe now you have a longer commute to work or a longer drive to your child's school, etc. So those are all things you want to take into consideration before you sign on the dotted line. And the last tip I want to give for those who are building a home is to decline upgrades. And what I mean by that, and this wouldn't apply to everybody, when you're building a home, it's pretty custom. You get to pick all aspects, you know, your siding color, your window color, your paint colors, your cabinets, etc. The list goes on and on. You really have a say in, you know, what you want to be in your home. If you have someone, a husband, a significant other, your father, your brother, friends, obviously that need to live close to where you're building, that can do upgrades for you, meaning painting, electrical, plumbing, installing, you know, floors, whatever the case may be. If you have that option of people who are handy, that could either do the work for cheaper than hiring a different company, or even free sometimes. Sometimes you get the family discount. I would recommend to decline upgrades if that's an option for you, meaning you have somebody that can do them for you for either free or much cheaper. In our case, I'm very lucky because my husband works in construction. So we declined a lot of the upgrades here. And the reason why is the builder charges you way more to do them for you, sort of a convenience thing, than if you decline them to do it and your husband or whatever can do them cheaper. A big thing we declined in this home was paint. To paint this entire home, my home is over 2,000 square feet. I can't even believe what they wanted to charge to paint the whole house. So we declined that. So all of our walls, everything in the whole house was white, just builder grade, plain old white. And my husband painted it all himself. So we just picked out the exact paint colors we wanted, and we just painted each room the way we wanted it. And in the long run, we saved a couple $1,000s just on the paint, and we're still not done painting. But overall, everybody has a different situation with what your husband or family members or whatever can and can't do. So just talk to people in your family that are willing to help, friends that are willing to help. Certain people have friends that are in certain trades that can do certain jobs for a lot cheaper. So definitely, if you can, decline some upgrades that you think you could do yourself. Also, you get a more customized version of what you want. Another thing we declined is ceiling fans. They wanted to charge, I don't know, $400 or $500 for like a ceiling fan. So we declined that and we purchased our own. There's actually a fan right behind me in my living room that we declined that to just be fan ready. And we just picked that fan out ourselves. It was like $200. My husband put it in 15 minutes. Now granted, I know everybody's husband can't do all of these things and all husbands aren't handy. So if you're willing to, you know, be up for the challenge of the DIY kind of life, even if you want to join in, you know, it's certain things you can and can't do. You just have to know your limits of what you're comfortable trying to do and, you know, not attempting to do. But if you can do some of the things on your own to customize it, definitely do that, because it's going to save you money in the long run. And also you're going to get more custom versions of what you want, rather than a choice of 4 different options from your builder. So those are just some tips. I hope that I didn't ramble too much and I made sense. If you have any questions in addition on this topic, definitely comment down below and let me know. I will do my best to answer your questions. I hope this was helpful to someone, you know, who is maybe looking to build a home or even purchase an existing home. And I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.